Hey guys, this is my evaluation for my A2 Media Studies coursework, which was my creative documentary called My Big Fat Greek Politics. I hope you enjoy it. In many ways, I think that my documentary does do all three of these things. I use real footage, I give a brief overview, which is normal for a documentary, and I do use stats to back up my arguments. I develop this a little bit further by adding the human character element into the documentary. I did this to try and make it more relevant to a younger audience. But I do think I challenge the normal form of documentary quite a lot within my piece of work because I decided to take out the interview section. That was interesting because from my audience research I found that most young people really didn't rate interviews in their top priorities of what was needed in a documentary because they'd rather figure out in their own mind what the problem was rather than hear other people tell them. Another thing that I challenged in my former documentary was I had a very one-sided argument. I will admit that, but that was mainly because I personally believe that the Western press also had a very one-sided view on the riots in Greece, and I wanted to give the other sort of point of view. As well as making a documentary, I also had to make a double-page magazine spread and a newspaper advert to tell people about the documentary beforehand. Um, Overall, I think this was quite effective. I've used a lot of the same fonts throughout. I've used a lot of powerful images, contrasting colours, and I think another interesting part which I decided to do was the hints of red that you can see in the background. Now, I put this down to the viewer to sort of decide what they view from this. It can either be viewed as blood because of the violence of the Greek riots, or it can also be seen to a more academic sort of mind as red for socialism, which is basically what my documentary represents. I did have a couple of points about the newspaper advertisement. Originally, you can see on my blog that I've made a newspaper advertisement, and it has a picture of a protester at the bottom with riot police at the top. That was my original idea. Um, Unfortunately, I couldn't carry on with that because it was not my own image, though I think it probably would have fitted in better with the overall project than my following design did, which was of the character, although I still think that was quite effective. Um, I've also decided to make a website, which is also on the blog, and yeah, that's basically just to pull everything together and present it in a more neat and professional way, so feel free to check that out as well. Overall, I found my audience feedback pretty useful, and I think I learned quite a lot from it. I learned that the media can be interpreted in very different ways by people, depending on their personality or their background. We did this sort of task in class where we each marked each other's work and gave it what we thought the examiner should give it. And it was pretty inconsistent for me because some people gave me a mark band 1, which is the lowest, and some people gave me a mark band 4, which is the highest. So yeah, it was pretty inconsistent. From the rest of my audience feedback, I found that everybody seemed to be quite interested in the documentary because it offered a brand new line of thought, possibly one that they hadn't experienced before, which was good. It asked them questions which they probably hadn't been asked before. They also told me that my use of editing was pretty good, They liked my choices of real life clips. They thought the character, the user, the narrator, sort of broke it up quite well. And they also told me that titles and the heartbeat in the background was really effective and sort of tensioned the atmosphere of it, which I thought was pretty good. There were a couple of issues which I got from my audience after the research period. One which I already was aware of is the sound quality of the documentary, but because of the way that I did actually made it, that I really couldn't change that, unfortunately. Also, another point was the audience asked for perhaps more footage of the character himself and turn it more into a short film rather than a documentary about how it's sort of how these riots are affecting his life rather than just giving them all the information. But apart from that, I think overall, yeah, I learned quite a lot from my audience research. It was pretty good. So. Although in many ways technology did help me throughout my project, having to go to hospital and then being ill for 2 months in the middle of the project didn't really help my cause here. This really had quite a big impact on the construction of the actual documentary itself, because I had to work from home and that caused a few problems because I had to keep switching between the Macs that we have at school and my home PC, which really doesn't work. If you've had any experience, you would know this. Also, I had to use Movie Maker rather than software such as iMovie and After Effects, which I had originally planned on using, but I still think the overall documentary is not too bad. Another bad point was my microphone wasn't that great at home, which resulted in the poor sound quality of the documentary, which I'd also like to improve if I had the chance in the future. What was good about working at home in terms of the construction of the documentary itself was I was able to get a lot of YouTube clips and download them off of the internet and put them into my documentary, which I wouldn't have been able to do at school because YouTube is blocked. And also, being able to use a HD camera really helped because it gave a good quality finish to my own filming in the documentary. In terms of my research and planning, it was pretty fun. It was pretty good, yeah. Again, I used YouTube as well as sources such as Wikipedia and newspaper websites, and also I went on quite a few Greek forums to find out what people thought. And yeah, overall, it almost didn't really have that much effect on my research and planning because overall it's just all there for me to find. It's just a case of going out and finding it. And also in terms of the evaluation, obviously I'm doing it on a webcam, which is not ideal, but it is a good and easy way of producing homemade videos. So overall, I'm pretty pleased, and I'm glad that I've had all of this technology around me, and there we go.